Hello, 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 friends. Nicholas here with DIVO, TED Talks, Devoted Talks, depending on how you want to say it. And this is where we take ancient wisdom and practices through a modern lens and experience so that we can help you and those you love end suffering in your lives and in the world. And it's good to be back with you guys. It has been quite the up and down. We have had winter weather and it has impeded some things and then giving me space to do others. And, I've had to really rein in life in different ways. And I won't go into too much detail about that because I probably could go into quite the train of thought on that. But what I really want to talk about today is coming back to your center, right? That essence of what you are, the rasa. It's that essence of you that you were when you were born and you were a child and just interested and engaged and curious and participatory, right? And depending on the life you led, some people that was extinguished early on because of the family dynamics and situation you were part of, and other people it took a while. Life in and of itself is quite challenging to adapt to because it's not long after you gain, quote unquote adulthood and, released to the world that things start to get stripped away from you. Like, for instance, you can only stay on your parents' insurance until a certain age. You can only stay on your parents' healthcare plans for so long. But you're still required, potentially, if you're not, to look at your parents as potential subsidies for paying for school. So, like, you might be free at 18, but you may have to use your parents' wealth to apply for financial aid. And so there's these weird interconnections that are maintained and forced upon people, and it gets very interesting. So, that being said, I was having a conversation with somebody that it is challenging to adapt to the world we live in because you have to pay to be in the place you were born. Like, you're born. Nobody asked you to be born. Like, nobody asked you if you wanted to be born. You were just born. And then all of a sudden you have to adapt to wherever it is you were born. Sometimes people are born into war and they have to adapt to that. Some people are born into poverty and have to adapt to that. Some people are born into wealth and have to adapt to that. And it's not like any of us are going, "Ooh, I want these parents." I mean, maybe at some metaphysical level that is happening in some certain way. And not every, resourced upbringing actually is as good as it may sound or seem. It really has to do with the, human relationships and interactions that are really going to dictate what you take out of it. Although lives where you are so focused on just putting food on the table and keeping a roof over your head, it's a very different existence and different circumstance of experiences than people who have, as they say, a silver spoon in their mouth. And so how do you operate in a world that, especially in certain places, all you have to do is self-determination? And, no matter what circumstance you were born to in America, for instance, where I live, you can be anything, you can do anything. And that's just not actually true. The dream can exist, but the ability of people to do that is more of the exception rather than the rule, even though we act like it is the rule for our land. And so that's just one example. I mean, there's plenty of other things, but I am more of an expert in this because this is what I was raised in and I've lived in my whole life versus other countries or unions. And that can be very challenging because, like, not only do you have to exchange your energy for common currency, but then you have to figure out how to divide your currency so that you can get ahead and or even enjoy the pleasures of life, forgetting sometimes that some of the pleasures are going for a walk and some of the pleasures are free. Some of the pleasures are sitting quietly and going inward. And in that, you know, we as a society have started to diverge and started to, uh, head in directions that, excuse me, could make it of the utmost challenge to be in wellness. Because that's what we're talking about, right? At the end of the day, people want to feel good. Money doesn't make you feel good. So people who have a lot of money are trying to do things that make them feel good. Not having a lot of money sucks and it's very challenging. And so people are trying to earn something so that they feel good. But everybody's still trying to feel good, right? And how we relate to those feel good feelings is going to dictate even more how much wellness we have or not, right? And so some of the richest people can be the sickest, and some of the poorest can be some of the happiest, right? And one isn't necessarily better than the other, they're just different. And ultimately, what dictates our wellness is our rightful relationship with self. And then in our rightful relationship with self, we have right relationship with life, existence, and wellness, just inherently. Inherent and concurrent, as my teacher would say. And then it becomes less about the things that you do and more about what you are in any given moment and the details that emanate from that beingness or from that aridness. So, what does this mean for you? And what does this mean from a yoga and Ayurveda perspective? It means that if you're feeling bad and you're not feeling good and you're feeling overwhelmed, for instance, it has more to do with your relationship with yourself and life than it does with these details of any circumstances that are going on around you. And so if you're feeling overwhelmed, that probably means that you have not been paying attention to the internal clues about what you do and do not want to do, what type of day that you want to have or not, or what you're willing to do for money or not. Right? I find it funny, in this day and age, there's a lot of old schoolers, as I would label them, who have all these opinions about earning a living, and sometimes you just got to suck it up just to make money. And it's like, I didn't ask to have to work. That's just the system I'm in. And then you're telling me that not only do I have to make money and be unhappy, I can't choose to do a different path potentially and or wait to find something that makes sense for me. Yeah, it's a conundrum because I get it, right? Things cost money and there's inflation and there's this and there's that and the other, and it's a cycle and it keeps building upon itself. It's layered upon layered as it circles around and around and around. It spirals and continues to add weight, and there's more to it. And what are we called to do in this moment? We are called to be in right relationship with self. And we can do that through yoga. We can do that through exercise. We can do that through routine and daily rhythms. We can do that through seasonal rhythms. We can do all of this through connecting to the most important thing to our world, us. You are the center of your world. Now, it doesn't mean that you treat others like you're the most important or the only thing in the world, but it does mean that you are the only one who can do the most right by yourself in any given moment. Otherwise, we wouldn't have different experiences on this planet. And we definitely wouldn't have rich and poor people. Oh. All right, my friends. This is just your friendly reminder that to be well and be free isn't anything but recognizing that you already are.